On 23 March 2021, a 400-meter-long container ship began its journey from Tanjung Pelepas, Malaysia. Its destination was Rotterdam, Netherlands. For most of the voyage, everything went exactly as planned. But when the ship reached this narrow stretch of water, everything changed. The ship ran aground. One vessel had completely blocked the passage. Within an hour, hundreds of ships were stuck on both the sides, and every day the canal remained blocked. An estimated $9.6 billion worth of global trade was delayed, not because of war, not because of natural disaster, but because a single ship became stuck in one narrow waterway. That waterway is the Suez Canal. Okay, let me tell you the story of how this one narrow strip of water became one of the most important places on earth. To understand that story, we have to go back more than 160 years, 1858. At that time, there was no direct sea route between Europe and Asia. Every ship had to sail thousands of kilometers around the southern tip of Africa through the Cape of Good Hope. The journey was longer, more expensive, and one of the world's busiest trade routes dependent on a route dominated by the British Empire. So a French diplomat named Ferdinand de Lesseps proposed something many believed was impossible: a canal through the desert of Egypt. What followed was a decade of relentless construction. Tens of thousands of Egyptian laborers were forced to work under brutal conditions, and thousands lost their lives before the project was finally completed. On 17 November 1869, the Suez Canal officially opened to the world. Overnight, the geography of global trade had changed. The ship that once had to sail around the Cape of Good Hope could now pass through the Suez Canal, cutting thousands of kilometers from their journey and saving days, sometimes even weeks at sea. Okay, now at first glance, it may not seem like a big deal. After all, it's just a shorter route. But in global shipping, every extra day at sea has a cost. More fuel, higher crew wages, higher insurance premium, longer delivery time. Now imagine those costs being multiplied by thousands of ships every year. That is why the Suez Canal became one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. Today, around 12% of the global trade passes through this narrow waterway. It carries everything from crude oil and liquefied natural gases to car, electronic, machineries, clothing, and food. But the canal's importance isn't limited to its economy. It is also one of the world's most important geopolitical choke point, because whoever controls this narrow passage influences one of the busiest trade routes on earth, and history has shown that nations are willing to fight for that control. In 1875, facing a financial crisis, Egypt sold its share in the Suez Canal Company to Britain. Although the canal remained in Egypt, British influence over it continued to grow. For decades, Britain regarded the canal as the lifeline of its empire because it connected the United Kingdom with India and its colonies in Asia. Then in 1956, everything changed.
A new Middle East crisis arises as President Nasser of Egypt tells a wildly cheering crowd in Alexandria that Egypt has seized the internationally owned Suez Canal.
Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser announced that the Suez Canal would be nationalized. Britain and France, determined not to lose control over this strategic waterway, joined Israel in launching a military operation against Egypt. The conflict known as the Suez Crisis became one of the defining geopolitical events of the 20th century. Although the invasion failed under international pressure, it proved one important point. The Suez Canal was no longer just a canal. It had become a symbol of power. And even today, that hasn't changed. In March 2021, the world witnessed just how dependent global trade had become on this narrow strip of water. When the Ever Given became whizzed across the canal, hundreds of ships were forced to wait. Every hour the blockade continued, supply chains across the world were disrupted. Factories delayed production, retailers waited for shipment, oil prices fluctuated, and billions of dollars worth of goods remained stuck at sea. More than 150 years after it first opened, this man-made waterway continues to shape global trade, international politics, and the price we pay for every goods. The Suez Canal is not simply a shortcut between two seas. It is one of the world's most important geopolitical chokepoints, a place where geography, engineering, economics, and geopolitics comes together. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes the most powerful place on earth isn't a country, it's a narrow strip of water carved out through the desert.